DaVinci Resolve Lite is one of the most amazing free video editors on the market, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to quickly get the most out of it. First of all, we'll just have a look at how I built the introduction you just saw. To begin with, we open up DaVinci Resolve, and this is what you'll see once you select a blank project. Down the bottom here are our four main areas where we import the media, we edit the media, we can edit the separate media tracks, and then we deliver it. So our editing workspace looks like this, a color workspace looks like this, and in this area what we're going to do in this tutorial is key out some colors on some particular footage so that it transparently sits on top of other footage. Once we've got our project all done, then we'll export it, and we can customize the export. We can export it to YouTube, Vimeo, and the default settings are usually the ones to go with, but of course you can modify those. So now to create our introduction, what we'll do first is we'll import some media. Now, for good housekeeping, it's a good idea to create a project folder, and the way I do it is simply create all the assets in the project folder, the audio, images and vision. So in the audio, we've got some stock tracks and some sound effects. In the images, we've got some background images, and got some little talking bubbles here, and we've got some screenshots of the different resources that I've used in order to create this particular production. There is a lot of free stock footage, stock images out there, so there's no immediate need to buy stock footage and that sort of stuff. Same with the video. Got some backgrounds which we can use, and some different sort of effects. This is the one we're going to use for the introduction. Some lower thirds, and these are great little effects that you see often on sports shows and things like that. And this has a black background, and we'll be keying out that black background so that the lower third sits on top of the footage. Some screen recordings of what we've taken, and I'll keep adding to this as we go through. Some stock footage. It's always good to have a little bit of stock footage in your video production because it just increases the production value. In here we've got a little bit of archive footage, and archive footage can be great to throw in there just as a pattern interrupt to keep people interested in the production. And we've also got some wipes, and these are great for just transitioning in between clips. Okay, so we'll go back to our backgrounds and get the earth. Now what we can do immediately is we can just drop that straight into the media pool, and we get asked, do we want to convert it to the same frame rate as the project? And yes, we want to do that. So now once we've done that, we'll head into our editing area, and we can drag our footage straight onto the timeline. So this is what we're looking at. Just play that through. And above here, we're going to add our text. And what we can do, first of all, when we click on the track, we can see it comes up in the inspector, and we can add a lot of effects to our particular clip. What I'm going to do immediately is just copy that with Command or Control C, and I'm at the end, so I'm going to paste that. This is a loopable track, so this should just play through. you see that loops really nicely. We're in the edit area, and once with the edit area, we've got our media pool and we've got our effects library. The effects library is fantastic. We've got audio transitions, video transitions, we can add titles to our production, and we've got generators. I won't be touching too much on the generators in this particular tutorial. However, our audio, our video and our text will play a big part. So when we want to add text, what do? We just drag text onto the timeline, and once we place the playhead over the top, we can see where it is there. So what we want to do is just select it so it comes up. Now we can move this up here. Here we can change the colour. We've got some different colour options here, and depending on how you like to work with your colours. For this particular tutorial, I'm just going to stick with the block colours, and now we'll just call this 12.5. Place that there. And while we're in this particular area here, you'll notice that I've got starred this cross dissolve. That's because I use it a lot. It's just a really nice professional looking transition, so that when we start, we've got DaVinci Resolve. And what I can do now is I can just stretch that right out across, and what we'll do is we'll add some scrolling text. So once again, just drag it down onto the timeline. We'll make that come in a little bit later on this particular one. As you can see, as you scroll along, it basically, it's just taking a little bit longer because of the screen recording. However, what we're going to do on this particular one is press this particular icon, which is it should come up there, that transform icon, and all I really want the scrolling text to do is just come up into this area here. Now we'll just pull in some text. And let's have a look at what we've got there. And of course we can just add more to that. So we'll go up here, go to the end, 5. Add some images, 6. We'll add a transition. Whoops, I spelled that. Between clips, and we'll think about what else we'll do there. For the moment though, what we might do just quickly is add a cross dissolve, do that, and finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some music underneath that. So just go back into audio, music, and just have a quick listen. Okay, well that sounds not too bad. As you can see, we're in the edit area, but what we can also do is we can drag clips straight into the edit area. So it doesn't have to go into the media pool immediately. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut it out there and fade it out. So we use the splice tool there, delete that. We'll go back to our effects library and go to our crossfade, fade that in, and we'll fade that out. Now with our effects library, we can just increase that. We can also increase the workspace area too. So that we keep it in full view. Okay. Let's have a listen, have a look. Now what we're going to do is import those two particular files. So just go to the vision, go to the screen recordings, and we'll import both of these. What I'll do first is just head on over to the media bin and drag them in. Okay. Now we'll just reduce the timeline, click the media pool up here, drag this one down first of all, and drag that down to there, and move them across to here. So let's have a look.
DaVinci Resolve White is one of the most
there we go, there's our first clip, and we'll drag the second clip in as well. Now this is just explaining the introduction. Now what I'm going to do is we're just going to add another piece of media, and this will be our lower third. Just this guy, and I'm going to drag him straight onto here. And let's just play this through.
DaVinci Resolve White is one of the most amazing free video editors.
Now what I want to do, there's a couple of things I want to do here. I'll just first of all drag this down. In actual fact, I think I might drag it down to another. One of the great things is it automatically creates a new track. And I'm going to just focus on this, click it in, reposition it down, and you'll notice that we've got this little black area on the back of our main screen. What I do here is we just stretch that across. Go into the next screen and also stretch that across just to make it full width. Right, and what we want to do here is we want to key out the black so that it comes in automatically and sits over the top of the footage. So in order to do that, we go into our color area. You can see it's been selected there. So this is a great area. We have to do two things here. We add a serial node, and this will just create a copy of this, and then we right mouse click and we add an alpha output. Once we add the alpha output, we just draw a line, grab the arrow there, and we select our color picker. We click on the black, which is what we want to key out, and at this point we need to invert it. So you'll see here that this should just come in quite nicely and sit over the top. Now it's a bit difficult to pick up on the video here, but there's a little bit of pixelation and a few black artifacts here. So what we do is we just clean up the black a little bit, and we get the in-out ratio and we pull it back. And what that will do is that will give us a nice, clean, crisp area. Let's just have a look at that. And that looks quite clean. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to drag the music out. Yeah, let's try there. So we'll just keep this music going underneath. Let's play.
DaVinci Resolve Light is one of the most amazing free.
Now, we can hear the music is a little bit loud once the voice comes in. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drop the music down at that particular point. Here's where our keyframes come in. So, I'm going to, you can see that's where the voice comes in. So we can just see that down there. So I'm going to add a keyframe there next to the volume. I'm also going to add a keyframe before it. Alright, that might be the end of the music there. We'll go to the end. Add another keyframe in there. Go a little bit further. Just make sure I haven't crossed over the end. Add one more keyframe. So what's going to happen now is we can just drag this down. We can drag this down. Now there should be a fourth keyframe there. There wasn't, so now there is. And just bring that back up. So let's have a listen to that.
DaVinci Resolve Light is one of the most amazing free video editors on the market today. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to.
Okay, so what we might do here is we might just pull up the volume. We can do that from here, or we can do that from here. So we've got the volume up on the vocals, and what we're going to do is we're just going to focus and some text on top of our little lower third. So we go to the effects library, come down to the text, drag that on top, put the playhead over the top of it, and just select that, pull it down. Now I can change the size of the font either by reducing the transform box, and I can also reduce it over here. And we'll just add in DaVinci introduction. Yeah. What we can do is we can just pull this across here and maybe just lift it up here too. You can also do that via this area here. And we've got a couple of effects that we can add here too. We can add a bit of a drop shadow to it, so we might do that. And that's a little bit much. And what we can finally do here is just a quick fade in and fade out. On the text. And we'll just have a look at that.
Light is one of the most amazing free video editors on the market. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to quickly get the most out of it. First of all,
so what would be nice here would be to have that reverse back out. As it goes, it doesn't do that, it just drops out. So, how do we get it to reverse back out? Well, just go Command or Control C to copy it. Move the playhead along a little bit. Command Control V to paste. And when we right mouse click on this, we can go change clip speed and we can click reverse speed. So now what will happen is that will reverse back out. You can see there's a few little artifacts there still, so we'll need to clean that up a little bit more. What we want to do is we need to keep the end of it in focus because that's the part that's going to reverse out. So now when we have a bit of a look at it,
free video editors on the market. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to quickly get the most out of it. First of all, just have a look.
And there it goes. There she is going out. So what we might do is just quickly go back into the colour area here. We need to make sure that's chosen. Sometimes it seems to default to the colour one, like it's done here. Okay. And just on this, we might make the clean black, just increase that. Pull the in-out ratio back a bit. And that seems to look a bit better. Now at this point, it's probably a good idea just to maybe have a quick look at this. So what we can do is we can go into our delivery section and just put the playhead here, press I, and that will give us an in point, and then go to the end of it here, press O, and that will give us an out point. And you can see we've got an in-out range there now. So what we'll do is we'll quickly just go test 1, click add to render queue, and where do we want to put this? I think I'll just drop this onto the desktop for the time being. Okay, and now we start render. great way to just test little areas of the project just before you commit to them. Make sure that they look really good. As we can see, it's coming through here. Is the process 62%, so that should be done in a couple of minutes, probably not even a couple of minutes, probably about 30 seconds, and see how that looks on the big screen. Alright, so what I'll do now is play this.
DaVinci Resolve Lite is one of the most amazing free video editors on the market. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to quickly get the most out of it. First of all, just
There
have a
we go.
look.
That didn't look too bad. I think probably you can see this needs to be a little bit more centered, but outside of that, that looks pretty good. So let's go back into our editing area. Just go back over the text, highlight the text, and we can either just move that slightly, and that will look really good. What we're going to do now is we'll bring in a wipe, and in this particular one we're going to do some double keying. And what I want to do is I just want to drop it right in between the end of our intro and the beginning of the commentary. So first of all, I'm just going to drag, copy all that. And nearly got everything. I press Control, yep, that will get it. So now, and grab that as well, and we'll just drag everything up. So it's fairly flush, almost flush with the end of the intro. And here's what we're seeing. So, and that will transition nicely into the first section of the footage. What I'll also do is we'll just bring a sound effect in and bring this guy. I might just go into the media editor just for a tick here, drag it into there, and there's our whoosh. Go back into here, and I just want to drop him just down on this next track here. This mouse of mine's fairly sensitive. So go back into the media pool, there's the whoosh, just drop it underneath there, and that will do that. Okay, so that's going to look pretty good. But what we want to do is we want to key out the black and the green. So once again we go into our color area and got this selected. Now for this one we want to key out the black first and then we'll key out the green. So once again we go to nodes, add a serial node, right mouse click, add an alpha output, drag the arrow to the alpha output, get our color picker, and reverse that, and there we can see the black's gone, we've still got the green. And that's going to look really good. So now what we want to do is key out the green. So for that we choose the Colour Picker Plus, we click on the green, and here we'll just increase the clean black, and we'll also decrease the out ratio. If we increase the clean black too much, we'll end up removing too much of our effect. See it there. See how that disappears just by itself, so we don't want all that disappearing. So this is where we just play around, have a look at our effect. And hard to see there, but there's a screenshot it's coming in, whereas we just want it to come in at about there, so it completely dissolves into the new shot. So what we'll do is we'll just select this, press the Command or Control key, and we'll just move that a little to the left. As a matter of fact, and that should look good. So let's go back to here. Alright, and once that's rendered, that'll look really good. Now the beauty of doing that there is that now we just copy. So I'll just Command or Control C, and we'll go into here. Now if I paste that straight away, it's going to go over the audio. So what I want to do is just drag that up to there. And now drop that over the top. Alright, so we've got a little bit of coughing and spluttering there, which we don't need. So just move these points, which should come in nicely.
To begin with, we open up.
Okay. Just move that up to there, line that up. Select both of these and drag them back. Now,
You just open up DaVinci.
alright, so we've come in just a little bit early there. And what we might do also is just add a little bit of a crossfade onto this. Just fade the vocal in.
To begin with, we open up DaVinci. So
There we go, there we have our intro, and we'll be ready to introduce our next section. So we'll go back into the Vision, Screen Recordings, and once again, just stretch that across. And let's make sure the vocals.
Right, now what we're going to do is...
Okay, so that'll come in quite nicely. Yeah, we could use a little bit more music just underneath all of this. So what we could do is we could take our initial track and just repeat that, but what we might do is we'll drag this down and we might introduce a new audio track. So back into our audio, music, there's Fantasy Forest. Okay, doesn't sound too bad. Just increase our workspace so we can have a look at that. Let's have a little listen though.
For good housekeeping, it's a good idea. Let's project folder, audio, images, audio.
Okay. Now just pull the audio right down there so it doesn't swamp the vocals.
Audio, images, visual. So in the audio, let's stop tracks.
Okay. And what we might do with this particular track is we'll just repeat this a few times. So Control Command C, then Control Command V, 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 V. So let's bring in the footage we just made before, and I'll just drag that straight onto here. Now, what I'm going to do is we're also going to bring in a little pattern interrupt here. So I'm going to move that back a little bit and going to bring in our vintage piece of footage and drop that right in between. This will just break up the production a little bit. And what I also want to do here is go to our images and let's bring a couple of these bubbles in. So for this I'll go back to the media, pull, drop them into there. Now go back to our editing area and just have a quick look at the end of this. And play that through. Okay, now I'm going to do a couple of things with this bit of footage. First of all, I'm going to increase its size so we can lock these together or lock them or unlock them, which means if I zoom the X, it will just stretch it out, likewise, and if we lock them, then it'll move everything out. Now this bit of footage was just really interesting because it's obviously vintage, old time, and one girl just looks like, this girl here looks like she's saying something that this one here isn't too happy about. That's the way I interpret it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put a couple of talking, we're going to put a talk bubble of what she's saying, and then we're going to put a thought bubble of what she's thinking. Ultimately, this is a very short clip. So what we're going to do is we're going to freeze it right at about there. Now, this is quite easy to do too. First thing we need to do is right mouse click, retime controls. And now we have our little arrows. This allows us to speed up, slow down the footage. I'm going to just click on the 100% there, add a speed point. And now I'm going to click on this 100% there and click freeze frame. Okay, so all this section in here is going to be frozen. So now that when we go back and have a look at it, and we'll just let the thought bubbles go there, and she goes. Now that will end up still being a little short, so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to reverse the clip at this point. So I'll just bring that back there. Now what I don't want is the freeze again. So what we're going to do here is clear the speed points. And clear the speed points and return this to 100%. And then right mouse click, change clip speed and reverse the clip speed. So when they come out, and they're actually backwards, but you can't really tell, and then we'll just fade that out. There's a little cross dissolve there. Okay, so what we now want is a bubble. Go back to here. And we'll drop. She's saying something, so we'll drop what she's going to say at about there. So we'll click on this, got our transform button highlighted, and just pop this up here, and we'll have her saying something like, he asked me out on a date, which she's not too happy about. So go in here, go back down to our text, add the text on top. Now it's white, which we don't want, we want black. Go back here, make it black, and drag it up. Here we can just decrease the text size, and alternatively we can also decrease the entire zoom. Okay, so okay, right, center that, bring this back down, bring the font size back down a little bit, and that's just her saying a little smirk on her face, and a little question mark, whoops, let's put a question mark. And right at this point, we will just pull this back. And what we'll also do is bring in the thought bubble of the other girl. And once again, just decrease the size of that. And what we can do is we can just copy the text from the original, our first input. Just drop this back over here and select that. Okay. So here's our little pattern interrupt. This might keep the production a little bit more interesting. What we'll quickly do is we'll just add some fade text. But at any rate, we'll just fade that out and in, and we'll have a quick look at this. Okay, we can obviously bring her in talking a little bit earlier. There to there, grab both of those, drag them up here, and let's see how the timing of that works. Okay, now I'll leave that section there, and what we're going to do next is work just with a couple of images and a couple of little editing techniques you can use just to basically add a little bit more production value to any screenshots and any screen recordings. So let's bring in that last section that we did, the vision, and we're up to section 5. I'm just going to drop in here quickly because what I discovered as I was bringing in the various screen recordings I was doing for this tutorial was that they weren't, the frame rates weren't lining up because I wasn't recording full screen. I just set different sizes for the different recordings, and what subsequently ended up happening was that when they were imported into DaVinci, the frame rates were different and the audio and the vision were out of sync. So I tried playing around with that and cutting the audio and moving it along, but it became quite a painful process. So what I ended up doing was opening a program called MPEG Streamclip, which is a free program. I imported those files into Streamclip and just exported them as MPEG 4s and at 30 frames per second. So ultimately, if you're looking at the source files for this, you'll notice that the last 2 screen recordings are actually MPEG 4s, and that's the reason they're MPEG 4s, is because I had to make sure that the vision and the audio were in sync. So that's something just to keep in the back of your mind. If you're doing multiple screen recordings, it's probably worth running them all through MPEG Streamclip and exporting them at 30 frames per second. width that we want. So what we'll do is we'll just go to the top. So just shrink that. Take us to the top. Now, we'll let our position keyframe in there. Go to the end. And down at the bottom. Just need it to go to here. Line that up. Okay, there's our end. And yep, she's scrolling through nicely. Now we'll do the same with our next clip. This time. Let's see if I can Control Z that. Yep. Now we'll try and bring it up uniformly. Okay. And this is a lot shorter than this particular screenshot. Keyframe in for the beginning, go to the end, and drop that in there. Something that is worth doing throughout any screen recordings is just changing the zoom position. So what I'll do is I'll just bring this back, okay, right to where the menu comes down. Okay. And just on this section here, and this is something you could do right throughout, is I'll just cut that there, and this is where I was just drawing the lines. Cut that there, and now I'm going and talking about the inversion. Cut that there. And what we're going to do is we're just going to increase the screen size and focus in on those points. Okay. Right. Bring this down, just line that at the top. So what we'll have, just do a little cross dissolve on this.
Once again, go to nodes, add a serial mode, right mouse click, add.
Okay, so we've got that first one in. What I'll do is I'll just add another cut point here, and on this next section just drag this across so that we focus on this area. And let's see how that looks.
Serial mode, right mouse click, add output.
Okay, and that's where we're at. So what we can do, we'll see how we've got those both lined up. We can make that out coming out. And there we have. So that's just a little example of how just to zoom in on particular parts of a screen recording, and there we have it. Right, that is huge. That's quite a lot that we've done. Now we're ready to export our movie. As I mentioned earlier, we can do a custom export. We can export for YouTube, Vimeo, Final Cut and Premiere. What I'm going to do here is just export for YouTube. I'm going to give it a, let's see, just call this YouTube export. Okay, that all looks pretty good. Just check the video here. 1280 by 720. I might sort of bring that back down here to sort of like a widescreen. So we can get a widescreen effect here. And okay. So just go through your parameters there, and once you're ready, click add to render queue, and then you simply click start render. And I'll let that do that, and what you'll be watching is the end result. Thanks very much for having a look at this, and hope you get a lot of use out of DaVinci.